Limerence is a psychological state involving intense, involuntary romantic obsession with another person, characterized by intrusive thoughts, emotional dependence, and an overwhelming need for reciprocation. The concept was first introduced by psychologist Dorothy Tennov in her 1979 book, Love and Limerence: The Experience of Being in Love. Unlike typical romantic attraction, limerence is more about infatuation and longing rather than genuine emotional connection or partnership. Several features differentiate limerence from other forms of love or attraction: obsessive thinking, constant, involuntary thoughts about the person, known as the limerent object. Idealization: the limerent object is often idealized, and their flaws are ignored or downplayed. Emotional dependency: mood fluctuates dramatically depending on the perceived reciprocation by the limerent object. Uncertainty and ambiguity: limerence thrives on uncertainty. The person in limerence often seeks any sign that their feelings are returned, and any ambiguity can intensify the limerent state. Physical symptoms: people in limerence may experience physical symptoms such as nervousness, increased heart rate, or a feeling of euphoria when interacting with or thinking about the limerent object. Fear of rejection: the idea of rejection or indifference from the limerent object can cause significant emotional distress. The limerence cycle: limerence often follows a distinct cycle. Infatuation, initiation phase. This phase is marked by excitement and attraction. The limerent person feels a growing fascination with the limerent object, typically based on limited interaction or superficial qualities. Crystallization phase. During this phase, the obsession intensifies. The limerent person begins to experience uncontrollable thoughts and feelings of yearning, analyzing every interaction for signs of reciprocation. Frustration, dejection phase. If there is no reciprocation or the ambiguity persists, frustration grows, leading to emotional turmoil and a feeling of being trapped in the obsession. This phase can last for months or years. Causes of limerence. Limerence is influenced by several psychological and emotional factors. Attachment style. People with anxious or insecure attachment styles may be more prone to developing limerent attachments. Unresolved emotional needs. Limerence can be a way of seeking fulfillment of unmet emotional needs, such as validation, self-worth, or emotional security. Psychological projection. Limerent individuals often project idealized qualities onto the limerent object, creating an illusion of the perfect person. Neurochemistry. Neurotransmitters like dopamine and norepinephrine are involved in limerence, creating feelings of pleasure, excitement, and reward when thinking about or interacting with the limerent object. Overcoming limerence. Overcoming limerence is challenging but possible. Here are some strategies. Awareness and understanding. The first step is recognizing that the feelings are not necessarily based on a healthy, mutual relationship, but rather an emotional and psychological phenomenon. Understanding the nature of limerence can reduce its power. Reduce contact with the limerent object. Reducing or eliminating contact with the limerent object, both physically and digitally, can help diminish the obsessive thinking patterns. This may involve unfollowing them on social media, avoiding places where they are, and reducing emotional reliance on them. Challenge cognitive distortions. Limerence often involves idealizing the limerent object. By actively identifying and challenging these idealizations, recognizing the limerent object's flaws and humanity, one can reduce the intensity of feelings. Foster emotional independence. Strengthening emotional independence is key to overcoming limerence. This might involve focusing on self-care, developing a strong sense of self-worth independent of external validation, and working on healthy, mutual relationships. Address underlying emotional needs. Often, limerence fills an emotional void. Therapy or introspection can help identify and address these deeper emotional needs, leading to healthier relationships and a reduced likelihood of limerence in the future. Seek professional help. For some people, limerence can be extremely distressing and difficult to manage alone. Therapy, particularly cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, can be highly effective in helping individuals address the thoughts and behaviors driving limerence. Example of limerence: Rachel meets James at a work event. They exchange pleasantries and have a brief, friendly conversation. Over the next few weeks, Rachel can't stop thinking about James. She replays their conversation in her head repeatedly, analyzing every word and gesture for hidden meaning. She begins idealizing James, convinced he is her perfect match. Despite only speaking to him briefly, she imagines a future with him. Every time she sees James in the office, her heart races, and she feels euphoric. However, James does not show any signs of romantic interest, and they barely interact. The ambiguity frustrates Rachel, but instead of losing interest, her obsession deepens. She spends hours crafting emails to him, looking for reasons to accidentally run into him, and analyzing his behavior for signs of attraction. As weeks turn into months, Rachel becomes increasingly distressed by James's indifference. Despite this, her thoughts are consumed by him, affecting her work and personal life. She knows her obsession is unhealthy, but she feels powerless to stop. Rachel eventually decides to seek therapy. With the help of her therapist, she learns to recognize her cognitive distortions and becomes aware of her idealization of James. She realizes that her feelings are based more on fantasy than reality and that her emotional needs are being projected onto James. She takes steps to distance herself from James, including avoiding unnecessary contact and focusing on building her own self-esteem. Gradually, the obsessive thoughts diminish, and Rachel begins to let go of her limerent feelings. Limerence is a complex psychological state that can have profound effects on emotional well-being. While it often feels overwhelming and inescapable, understanding its roots and taking active steps toward recovery can help individuals regain control of their emotions and build healthier, more fulfilling relationships.